All right, Manitoba, welcome back to another episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful day as always. Real fast, Manitoba, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff that helps out the show. I am on all social media pretty much Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. You could find me at Manitoba Freethinker Podcast, or TikTok and Twitter. It's MB Freethinker. All right, Manitoba, just when we thought that maybe, just maybe, we are going to get out of winter, Mother Nature comes and shows her true unpredictability and just hammers us once again. I mean, like, Manitoba, this winter has been crazy. Just 2 days ago, we were getting rain, and it was melting. But here's a few headlines going around the province. Winter storm impacts schools, bus services in southern Manitoba. So just so you guys know, a lot of schools have been canceled and buses as well. Thousands without power. Manitoba Hydro crews estimated around 6,000 people were without power earlier today. So that's always fun. And of course, the highway conditions here in the province are going to be brutal. They're already started earlier this afternoon, and it's going to continue tonight and into tomorrow. So if you guys are traveling, make sure to be careful about that. But Manitoba, like the title of today's show claims, Winnipeg released their preliminary budget. I didn't obviously dive too much into it, but some changes are, I guess, a little worrisome. Some are predictable, but some kind of have me a little worried. But I'm just going to play you a short one minute clip of Bartley Kives summing it up, and then I'll go over it in a little more detail.
Kivas and I've been covering city budgets since the dinosaurs walked the earth and people used landlines. We're going to get back to landlines in a minute. So the city puts out a budget every year. It's a spending plan for services, everything from policing to spraying for mosquitoes to cleaning snow off the streets. How does the city pay for it? Largely, it relies on property taxes. And this year, it's raising property taxes 3.5%. That might sound like a lot, but other cities do it a lot more. The city is kind of limiting that because they don't want to keep hitting people who own homes. So what's it doing instead? It's raising a lot of other taxes and fees. Brand new this year is a $1 a month 911 charge. It'll be applied to your phone and your landline, the 6 of you who still have landlines. That will be paying for what they call next generation 911, the ability in the future to submit pictures and not just call 911, please help me, something horrible is happening. So anyway, what else is going up? Hotel taxes, they're going from 5 to 6%. Transit fares on average are going up 10 cents this year instead of 5 cents, which is what they normally do every year. Also, if you own a home, you're going to be paying an additional $10.54 for garbage and recycling, all the way up to $80 a year. As well, next year, even if you're a renter, you're probably going to pay more too, because every apartment unit is going to be next year paying for something, and landlords are going to be paying that cost, and they'll probably pass that back down to you who's renting. So this budget has a lot of hoops to go through, but it'll get passed, and it has to be passed before the end of March.
All right, so what do you guys think, Manitoba? From CBC News, new 911 charge among higher fees in City of Winnipeg preliminary budget. A new monthly 911 fee higher than usual increase for garbage collection and transit, and the first hike to the accommodation tax on hotels are among the increase in a City of Winnipeg preliminary budget that aims to hold the line on property tax hikes. Fees will go up an average of 5% in 2024, another 5% increase in 2025, and a 2.5% increase each of the following 2 years. The increases are needed to catch up with inflation after COVID-19 pandemic, city officials said, as the public got its first look at the preliminary budget when it was presented to the City Executive Policy Committee on Wednesday. Quote, "We tried in this budget to balance those competing realities, that there are people right now who are struggling," Mayor Scott Gillingham told reporters in a news conference alongside Finance Committee Chair Jeff Browerty? I don't know. The average Winnipeg homeowner can expect to pay $69 more in property taxes this year, $69 that is, As the city maintains its 3.5% annual property tax increase, frontage levies remain flat, in keeping with Mayor Scott Gillingham's campaign promise to limit the increase to 1 year. Starting July 1st, the city will add $1 fee to each monthly phone bill registered to a Winnipeg address. To fund improvements to the city's 911 service, this change is subject to provincial approval. Side note, Manitoba, Canada already pays some of the highest cell phone bills globally, so that one's going to hit a lot of people hard, I have a feeling. The federal government is requiring cities to upgrade their technology, Gillingham said. Quote, it's not just a matter of calling anymore. You could actually upload videos or pictures directly to officers, so that's going to take a different system. The city is also asking its police and fire paramedic service to explore consolidating their 911 call centers to increase efficiency. Kate Geller, Executive Director of Social Planning Council of Winnipeg, worries about the impact the new and increased fees could have on people with low incomes. Quote, we're asking people who are already struggling to pay a phone bill to put maybe $1, $2, $3, or $4 more per month, when in Canada we pay such high rates already, she told reporters. Waste collection fees will also increase $10.54 per household, up to $80 in 2024. So that's another $10. Awesome. The city also plans to introduce a new waste collection fee for multi-unit buildings, starting at $46 per unit in 2025. Like Bartley Keefe said, they're giving a year to landlords so they can figure out how to pass it down onto renters. I should have just read the next sentence. The 1-year delay is intended to allow landlords time to consider the change and how they might pass it on to renters. So other changes, transit fares accommodation tax increase. Transit fares will increase 10 cents each year, a larger increase than the 5-cent increase in past years. The city will freeze the cost for the low-income Win Pass in 2024. Some of the money from the increased fares will go toward paying for upgrade to the transit fare payment system to replace the current Pago cards. This system has been criticized for how long it takes for fares paid online to become available on the cards. Quote, Pago has been a disappointment, to be generous to the product, since the beginning, said Browerty. The new technology that we're going to be implementing, people have to get new cards, but it's going to be, you could load it from home. At the very least, you're able to use it right away, end quote. The accommodation tax will increase by 1 percentage point to 6%. The first time it has gone up since it was introduced in 2008. That money will be diverted to general operations for city beautification efforts. Michael Jews, president and CEO of Manitoba Hotel Association, says hotels are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Quote, we were the first hit and last out of the pandemic, so it's really tough time to be increasing taxes on our sector, he said in an interview. Jews said he supported the city adding $500,000 to the special event marketing fund, but criticized the decision to use part of that money raised by the tax to fund initiatives that are not directly related to attracting more visitors to Winnipeg. It moves it a little bit further away from the first stated goal of increasing visitation and events, and makes the line less clear, end quote. So, I mean, again, I don't know why hotel operators are really that upset. Obviously, that increase is going to be passed directly on to the people staying at the hotels. But, I mean, it's going to cost Winnipeggers more. Longer, more consistent library hours. The city of Winnipeg plans to spend $81 million more on services in 2024 than it did last year. That's 6.3% increase over 2023, while the inflation rate in Winnipeg was 4.4%. Some of the funding increase, $5.9 million, will go towards libraries, paying for more staff, increased hours, and more consistency across branches. The city will add 9 new full-time library staff, as well as 5 full-time positions that were removed from the 2023 budget due to recruitment challenges. Libraries will no longer close midweek, Browerty said. Libraries will be open 10% longer from Labor Day to the May long weekend and 14% longer during the summer. The city is also putting $5 million this year toward construction of a new Northwest Library. On capital projects, the city expects to spend $607 million, up from $567 million in 2023. So libraries are making it this budget. Pool closures. The budget also includes a proposal to replace or decommission 20 outdoor wading pools and open 10 new splash pools at a cost of about $20 million. The Eldon Ross Indoor Pool in Happyland and Windsor Park outdoor pools would also be closed in the coming years. The city also plans to review attendance and operational costs at the Kinsman Sherbrooke Pool over the next 4 years. After 2 years of budget shortfalls that drained the city's rainy day funds, finance officials projected last year that the city would finish the year with a balanced budget. The last update before the release of the 2024 budget, however, projected a deficit of $7.1 million for 2023. The new budget will leave the fiscal stabilization reserve with $18 million. The Winnipeg Police Service budget gets a $7 million increase to $333 million, while the fire paramedic budget increases $8 million to $234 million. Here's another frustrating part. Oh, it's depressing. Especially, everyone who lives or visits Winnipeg knows this next part is going to hit home hard. The city's road budget decreases $18 million to $138 million. A federally funded accelerated regional road renewal program ended last year. So the city's road budget down $18 million. And we all know what our roads are like. This is the second budget with Gillingham as mayor and the first in the next 4-year budget cycle. The city's Standing Policy Committee will hold public hearings on the budget in a series of meetings beginning March 1st. Council will meet to consider the budget on March 20th. So here are some of the highlights. Operating budget, which is in brackets, spending on city services. $1.36 billion, and that's up $81 million from 2023, which works out to a 6.3% hike. The capital budget, which is tax-supported spending on infrastructure and equipment, $607 million, and that's up $40 million from 2023. Property taxes. Property tax rise 3.5%, the same as in 2023. The average homeowner will pay $69 more this year. This will raise an additional $32 million for the city. The frontage levy remains the same. Total projected property haul in 2024, $745 million. That's what they're projecting. The accommodation or hotel tax, up 1 percentage point, with the additional revenue flowing into general revenue for the city's beautification instead of all the money going to the destination marketing reserve. Transit fares going up 10 cents this year or every year instead of a nickel. New monthly 911 fee, $1 per active phone line starting July 1st. Water and sewer rate hike, 3.8% this year. Business tax rate remains at 4.84%. General fee increase 5% with some exceptions. Waste diversion fee, $80 per household, up from $69.46 in 2023. Police budget, $333 million, up $7 million. Fire paramedic budget, $234 million, that's up $8 million. Road repair budget, $138 million, down $18 million. Snow clearing budget, $41 million, up $5 million. Can we take a look at these two numbers? St. Vital Bridge fuck it, I'm not even going to try it. Rehabilitation, $23 million this year to finish work that started last year. Centerport South Water and Sewer Pipes, $13 million. New Northwest Library, $5 million. And the Fiscal Stabilization Reserve, which is the rainy day fund, will end 2024 at $18 million, which is up from $9 million. So here's the takeaway. Fiscal Stabilization Reserve or rainy day fund, can we maybe put that into our road repair budget instead of going down $18 million? How about instead of pumping all this fucking money into the library, which again, I agree with the services, but that much money when you're going to turn around and decrease our road budget by 18 fucking million? That's a disaster. And the other thing I want to mention, for the love of God, the police budget is getting $7 more million. Can we please, Manitoba or Winnipeg, put some fucking video cameras on them? For the life of me, I cannot understand why still in 2024 our cops don't have cameras on them. That would help the people that are always claiming police abuse, and in turn, it will help the police saying, no, look at what we're dealing with. We didn't do nothing wrong. Here's the proof. $333 million of our city's budget is going to the police. Put some fucking cameras on them, guys. Come on. That should be the biggest takeaway. The two things. Road repair down 18 million, which is mind-blowing, and the police services are getting $7 more million, so it better be going to some video cameras. Okay. So the other part, I guess, of the show, you guys, is I obviously point out a lot of the flaws that the NDP has. So when they do finally do some good things, I enjoy pointing them out, because we got to start. I'm a Manitoban, and unfortunately, Wab Kinew and the NDP party are my governing party team. So I'm gonna try and support them. I'm gonna applaud them when they do good, and I'm gonna call out their bullshit when they do bad. But a couple things that they are doing good is they're trying to make it easier for doctors who are already here and nurses who are already here and health officials in general. They're just trying to make it easier, and they're trying to make Manitoba a more attractive place to live and work and set up shop. So, I agree with these programs that they are trying. Let me just pull it up. So, Manitoba-wide program aims to support and retain new doctors. So this is good from Global News. Let me just pull it up. In a push to retain and recruit new doctors in Manitoba, the province announced a program aimed at mentoring and supporting physicians during their first year's practice. Health Minister Uzoma Azagara announced that the new province-wide program on Thursday is a partnership with the provincial government and Doctors Manitoba. Funding from the province will allow Doctors Manitoba to create support networks within the healthcare system to, quote, mentor and collaborate with physicians in their first 5 years of their practice in Manitoba, according to a release by the province. So the New to Practice program looks to reduce physician burnout and isolation, which is, this is something that our doctors and nurses are screaming about. It's a huge thing. And especially, I believe, in the next, 10 or 20 years or so, something like half of our doctors are going to be retiring. So, this is huge. We have to make Manitoba a more attractive place for doctors to come. Quote, every Manitoban deserves quality care close to home. To make sure that happens, we need to attract more doctors and keep doctors already in our system working here in Manitoba, as Sagara said. That's huge. This initiative will make sure all doctors new to practicing in Manitoba get the assistance and encouragement they need to thrive and provide excellent care to Manitobans. It shows the profession that we understand the demands of their job, particularly at the onset, and are here to help. Quote, we appreciate the new funding from the government of Manitoba to support doctors as they begin and grow their medical practices in Manitoba, an important step as we work together to address the critical physician shortage, said Dr. Michael Boroditsky, president of Doctors Manitoba, in the release. Through the program, new doctors will receive the following practical support: assistance settling into a practice, help in building connections to the existing physician community, information on successfully navigating, escalating, and resolving challenges, settlement support for physicians' families. So, yeah, that, like I said, that is huge. let me just pull up this other article I have. So, in regards to the same thing, province announces support for mentorship programs for doctors new to Manitoba. Dr. Nichelle Desolette says a new provincially funded program designed to mentor and support doctors would have been a tremendous help in her first years of her practice in Manitoba. Quote, I was lucky to join a good group of physicians. There are 8 of us here, but everyone is so busy, said Desolette, a family doctor who has now practiced in Nipawin for more than 8 years. Quote, this new program has so many benefits. We want our future colleagues to feel welcome and supported, and they have that. Hopefully that they will stay. If they have that, hopefully they will stay here. So the province announced Thursday it will spend $300,000 in each of the next 4 years for a new to practice program in partnership with Doctors Manitoba. So it's not even a huge amount of money. So again, I went over with Uzoma said. So here's, again, why this is very important. Manitoba, like other areas in the country, has a shortage of doctors, especially in family practice. A Doctors Manitoba report last year found the province has the fewest number of family doctors per capita in the country. 111 for every 100,000 Manitobans. The Canadian average is 124. So, and again, I talked about that this on a show a couple months ago. It is so difficult to recruit doctors to come here that a family doctor who runs 2 clinics up in North Winnipeg said recently that she had to shell out $700,000 of her own money to recruit 10 doctors from the UK. The money included a $17,000 incentive payment for each physician, along with the cost of airfare to Canada for them and their immediate family members, and the cost of accommodations and vehicle rental for the first month in Manitoba. So, I mean, this, like I said, this is good news because we have a huge need and demand for doctors in Manitoba. And I just, like, if you think about it, if you had a degree, if you were a doctor, why would you choose Manitoba? Why would you stay in Manitoba? Chances are you can make more money out of province and have a better like living. So I'm all for all these programs that will help and encourage doctors to set up shop in Manitoba. But the other part of the story is articles. It is the accreditation process in Manitoba is apparently one of the worst in the country, and that is for the ability for Manitoba to recognizes the accomplishments or the certifications of nurses and healthcare providers from other countries. It's so bad, Manitoba, where these nurses, they'll go to other provinces and get accredited, and then they'll come to Manitoba because Manitoba has to accept other Canadian recognition. So I'm just going to play you a short video. They could sum it up obviously better than I can, but here's the state.
Labor Minister Malaya Marcelino is fed up. Too many internationally trained nurses move to Manitoba but can't work in their field.
Manitoba currently is, I want to say, the worst jurisdiction currently for accreditation for internationally educated nurses. So that is the hole that we're climbing out of, and we are going to do it.
New data suggests many nurses are bypassing Manitoba's College of Registered Nurses. In the first 10 months of 2023, the college registered only 7 internationally educated nursing applicants. Meanwhile, hundreds more applicants living in Manitoba, internationally and domestically trained, took an indirect path to registration. They applied through a different province, got approved, and then Manitoba's regulator had to honor it. Marcelino says Manitoba's system isn't working.
Why would you try when you know that you're going to fail?
College CEO Deb Elias knows that change is needed.
Being known as one of the tougher colleges isn't a reputation that we want to have.
In recent years, the college has tried to make its registration process easier. For example, applicants can skip a challenging exam if they take a year-long class instead. Elias now says the college is thinking of replacing its exam requirement with something else.
Is there another way to do an assessment?
The province is trying to help by developing a new route to accreditation for all foreign-educated health professionals, not just nurses.
We have to come up with a pathway for Manitobans because they're already here anyway.
International nurses.
Monica Matera likes the idea, but she isn't holding out hope. Now a mine worker in Thompson, she hasn't worked as a nurse in 16 years, even though she's tried to get licensed in Manitoba.
Apply here, apply there, ask them, ask him. And really, I never got an answer from anybody. And that's what makes me frustrated.
But despite it all, Matera has found the job and life she loves.
I don't want to work anywhere else. I love the North, and the North need people like me.
And being a nurse in the North would be even better. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, so like the video says, hundreds of foreign trained nurses here right now in the province already. Marcelino said there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of foreign trained nurses in Manitoba who want to work in their field. Some appear to be bypassing their provincial college altogether. In the first 10 months of 2023, the College of Registered Nurses in Manitoba certified just 7 internationally trained nurses through its process, according to information provided by the college to CBC. But many more internationally and domestically educated nurses took an indirect path to certification by registering in other provinces that have eased their registration requirements. Manitoba's college, like other regulators, has to honor registration decisions made elsewhere in Canada. As of the end of last September, 450 labor mobility applications resulted in nursing being registered in Manitoba in 2023. According to the college, nearly double of the total of all of 2022. Some of those applications include people who moved into the province. Marcelino alleged many nurses aren't bothering with certification in Manitoba when other provinces have fewer barriers. Quote, no one's trying anymore, the Labour Minister said. Quote, why would you try when you know that you're going to fail? That's how bad our accreditation system is as it relates to nursing. End quote. Tough standards are imposed to ensure healthcare professionals are sufficiently trained, said Arthur Sweatman, the Ontario Research Chair in Health Human Resources. But it's clear something needs to change in Manitoba if the path of least resistance for applicants is through a different province, he said. Quote, if you want people in Manitoba and you have nursing shortages, nursing shortages in Manitoba, making the direct path easier is going to help the population, he said, obviously. Eli, the college's CEO, acknowledged that applicants are finding other registration processes easier. Quote, people tend to go with the route that makes sense for them, end quote. The college is working to make improvements to its licensing process and communicate recent changes it's made, she said, such as lowering benchmark scores in English proficiency tests, I think I need to take that, and letting applicants skip the clinical competence assessment to take a year-long nurse re-entry program instead. Yeah, that's huge, and I'm not, I don't want a nurse that's not trained, but as an electrician, I completely understand the fact that if you're at a school for a long time and you just sent to and go take an exam, yeah, your chances are you're going to fucking fail. But if you take a course that gets you back into it, shit's going to start clicking. You're going to be like, oh yeah, and things will come back. And then maybe you could take then some sort of test at the end of the program. Makes way more sense. So where was I? Being known as one of the tougher colleges isn't a reputation that we want to have, said Eli. We want to be welcoming for all applicants and really invite internationally educated nurses to apply through us because we want to work with them. While Thompson Matera enjoys operating a conveyor at the mine, that was the story about the chick who's a nurse who's working in the mine. So yeah, either way, changes are happening. Some are slow. Some are good, some are bad, but I want to point out, healthcare and crime should be Wab Canu's only focus. So when he's, at least Again, these are things that are so easy to do. Just make it easier for doctors who are already here to set up shop and encourage them to, and make it easier for nurses or other healthcare providers who are already trained in foreign countries. Just make it easier for them to continue working here. Like, this is common sense shit, and it barely costs us any money. So I'm all for it. What are we at? 30 minutes. I was going to do one more story. Global pressure impact Manitoba. So this is like, what's Manitoba's overall state according to economists? Manitoba is facing a year of subpar growth. Amid ongoing global uncertainty, a leading economist told provincial business leaders Wednesday. Don Desjardins, chief economist of Deloitte Canada, laid out Canada's economic landscape at the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce event in downtown Winnipeg. She described the slowing economy across the country, rising interest rates, inflation, geopolitical tensions, and upcoming United States election and less consumer spending have contributed to business uncertainty and pullback in investment, Desjardins outlined. Quote, "Do we think inflation is going to be beaten? Yeah," she said, "but it's going to take some time. Economists predict the Bank of Canada's key inflation rate will decrease later this year. However, media reports Wednesdays show the central bank has no certain timeline for such a move. Higher interest rates, which make mortgages and other debt more costly, have impacted Manitobans," Desjardins noted. "Manitoba has the fourth highest household debt-to-income level in Canada," she said. Kevin DeBlair, president of Commercial Credit Adjusters Limited, meets with clients who can't afford the rising cost of living. He too addressed the Chamber's crowd Wednesday. Quote, "I am not just making enough to pay these bills," DeBlair said. "Now I have focused on ways to save money, where they can cut, and how they can overcome their debt." End quote. That's what clients say to him. The penny pinching mindset applies to businesses, including commercial credit adjusters, he added. Quote, "Do we invest in new technologies, or do we have to save money and meet the wage enhancement for employees?" End quote. Businesses are showing a lack of confidence throughout Canada, Desjardins said in her presentation. Even so, Manitoba touts the lowest unemployment rate in the country. Last year, the province added 20,000 jobs, offsetting the labor force growth. Manitoba and Canada overall needs to see higher than normal job creation to support immigration, Desjardins said. However, job growth nationally is expected to slow. I mean, I am happy that our province has a low unemployment rate. Immigration is, where was it? The province unemployment rate will likely increase as a result. It's currently low, sitting at 4.2%. So that's good. Quote, we think as we move forward, the weakening in our labor market probably is going to lead to a little bit less of the pressure on the wage front for businesses, she said. Immigration is needed to fill labor gaps in an aging population, but it's also pressuring on an already constricted housing market. Meantime, Canada may face a little bit of weakening in its exports this year as trading partners across the globe grapple with similar economic troubles. Businesses worry global conflicts, such as in the Ukraine and the Israel-Hamas war, will lead to further disruption in supply chains and higher transportation costs. Quote, "It's nothing near what we have experienced," Desjardins assured the crowd. Desjardins said she is optimistic about the future, even if Manitoba itself will experience a year of subpar growth. Quote, "We have to get through this hump in our economy," she said. "We need to see interest rates move down. Once that happens, businesses will likely spend more throughout Canada, as many have money to invest but are holding back seeking stability," Desjardins stated. The Bank of Canada has a goal of dropping the national inflation rate to 2%. In December, that rate was 3.4%. Manitoba's rate of inflation was lower, hovering at 1.7%. "I think everyone is looking for interest rates to start going back down," said Chuck Davidson, president of the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce. In the meantime, he's hoping to see policy address businesses impacted by inflation. "Manitoba is doing okay, but I think there's some room to grow moving forward," he added.